Example 3, slightly more difficult for two reasons. Number one, we got a minus sign to begin with. That's not really makes it hard. But then we have 4 terms instead of 3. The more terms you get, the bigger your answers get to be. So keep that in mind. Once again, this is my equation. There's no parentheses in it to begin with, so multiplication by a common denominator to get rid of fractions will be necessary. P and y are the only denominators. They're not the same, so times py is going to be the least common denominator. If I do my multiplication, py times 6 over p, p cancels p, leaving me with 6y. When I do py times ax, there's no fraction, there's no cancellation happens. It is minus, so make sure that minus comes along, and I get apxy. That was hard because I had to figure out alphabetical order and the letters weren't there, so that was a little more difficult. Alright, py times m over y cancels y, leaving me with mp. And notice there's an equal sign there, so make sure the equal sign shows up where it belongs. And then I got k times py, again, no fractions, no cancellation, I get plus kpy. That step is very, very important every single time. Make sure it happens, make sure you do it correctly. Once you do that, now what we're solving for matters, and what we're solving for is p. So looking at the terms, 6y doesn't have a p in it, that has a p, that has a p, that has a p. So the quickest way to make this happen is move apxy over to the right-hand side. So 6y is staying on the left, it stays positive. mp is staying on the right, it stays positive. kpy is staying on the right, it stays positive. apxy is moving to the right, it becomes positive. So we get that. And then, again, once you got all the objects you care about, all the p's on one side, and all the not p's on the other side, step 4 is always factor that thing you care about out. The other side is not affected by that factoring, just keep bringing the other side down. And whenever p is being multiplied by, that's what you divide by. So we're going to divide both sides by m plus ky plus axy. That cancels that, and there's my answer sitting right there. The most common mistake people make on these problems, that's upside down. There's so many letters to deal with, and people don't really think through what it is they're supposed to be doing. And again, it's real simple. Think about this problem, 8 equals x times 4. I mean, whatever x is being multiplied by that determines what you divide by. That's all that's happening here. What I care about is being multiplied by something, you divide by that same thing. The other mistake people make is they just leave a letter off of one of these. Like they just put axy instead of apxy, and all of a sudden you got 2 things on top, 2 things on bottom. So leaving out something and from going from here to here, just leaving out a piece of a term because there's a bunch of letters happening in there, and there's no rhyme or reason to the letters. Make sure all the letters show up, okay? So don't leave anything out when you go from here to here. Those tend to be the places where people mess up on those problems. So be careful that you pay attention to detail through the process.